Evening, everyone. Welcome to our latest AQA A-Level Sociology live revision blast. And I know what you're thinking. Duncan, you've lost your hair and your beard. Where has it gone? Well, the answer is, I'm not Duncan, I'm Jim. Duncan is, currently playing at a gig or getting ready to play at a gig. He's quite a famous musician and singer. So he's brought me in to help out. But fortunately, I've got two experts who really do know what they're talking about. That's Katie and Craig as well. So good evening, team.
Hi.
Evening.
Good to see you. Welcome everyone who's joining us live for this session. About 30 minutes or so of live revision activities. And tonight's topic is postmodernism and the new right. For my limited knowledge of sociology, that sounds like sort of two extremes of the spectrum there. I might be right, I might be wrong. I shall wait to find out as we work our way through the session. We're going to get started pretty quickly. Just to say, if you're watching live, please do use the live chat if you want to have a go with some of the questions, the activities, or ask any questions as we go. If there's something you're not sure about, Katie and Craig will dive in and pick out your questions and give you an answer. And also, if you're enjoying the session, give it a thumbs up. That encourages YouTube to recommend this type of session to other sociology students. Katie, Craig, I think we're good to go, aren't we? Should we make a start?
We are.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do this.
Just tell me when you want me to move the slides forward. I will be sat here having a go as well.
No problem, Jim. Okay, so for our first challenge today, we're going to look at the new right, and we're going to look at a 60-second challenge to get you started. You have 60 seconds to match some of the key phrases that are associated with the new right ideology, the new right way of thinking. And what you need to do is you need to match the letters on the left with the numbers on the right, or the new right, as Jim advised me before we came on air today. So if we have a look at the definitions, please. So we've got five key terms that we associate with the new right down the left-hand side. It's quite badly thought out there. I really should put them down the new right. And on the right-hand side, we have the definitions of those key terms. We have 60 seconds. What I would like you to do is to put your responses in the chat box. Below. So it might be that you think neoliberalism is an economic policy. So you put A4, for example. So if we start the clock, please. Off we go. And for regular viewers, you might notice that the music's changed slightly.
I was about to say that. It's very Disney-like.
It is very Disney. I'm half expecting Snow White to come dancing across the screen.
Challenging question. What would new right? What would Murray say about that?
Oh well, I think Disney might be a little bit more postmodern, mightn't it, nowadays?
Yeah, that's it.
But we might discuss that later on. Okay, we're getting some answers coming through. So Ian has put C2, so the free market is the ability to buy and sell goods without government intervention. Josh has gone for AC2 as well. We've got Megan, who's gone for E5, austerity measures, as cuts to social spending to repay national debt. Clash has got F8. Okay. Lewis has gone A4, B3, C2, D1, E5. Keys has gone for A4, B3, C2, D1, E5. Okay, so quite a range of responses there. Let's look at our answers. Okay, so neoliberalism is A4. It is an economic policy that promotes low taxation and low state spending. Very much in the public eye at the moment, has been for the last 40 years, I suppose. Welfare dependency, being reliant upon state benefits. Of course, the new right talk a lot about welfare dependency. The free market is the ability to buy and sell goods without import or export tariffs. Consumer choice, obviously another big key tenet of new right thinking, the ability for individuals to purchase goods and services, including services that are usually provided by the state, and austerity measures, cuts to social spending to repay the national debt, which of course has been a big kind of policy over the last 12 years. So some good responses there. We're going to move on to Katie now with our next activity.
With the connections one, oh goodness, I went really quickly. I was like, wow, that was good. We're going to look at postmodernism now. So a little shift from the new right. What we've got in a minute is 12 key phrases, which is a combination of keywords and key thinkers. What I would like you to do is to group them into 3 groups of 4. Now, if you see the next slide, I can sort of explain a little bit of how you can group them. The best way to do that is write it sort of A1 with maybe just sort of putting random ones together, A3 for argument's sake, and bunch them up like that rather than write obviously the whole sentence. So we haven't got a timer on this, but as things start coming through, we'll see where you can group them together. So you're grouping them together. What do you think the theme of those groups might be, these 3 different groups? So we start? Let's see if you can put some of them together. Maybe start with the easier ones, and see how you can group them together. Thinking maybe looking at, say, C1, what else might that link with? What's the link there between these?
I'm glad you're doing this activity, Katie. There's a few names I don't think I could pronounce in here.
Oh, we talked about that the other day, didn't we? So, yeah. But I don't know if I can either, by the way. So, particularly my brace that's in. So,
which one are you thinking of, Craig? Is it C1? Do you want to have a go?
It could be. I believe it is Baudrillard, I think.
It could be. We get some answers. We've got 3B and 1... 3B, where are we going? Oh, it's coming up on the actual screen as well. So, Lewis,
I'll stick some answers on the screen here, Katie. I can add them to the screen as our live stream.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So 3B and 1D. Okay, so maybe what's the theme? What's connecting them together there, Lewis? Saints is putting A1 and D2. I'm moving around like this. Potentially, but it depends what you're thinking the link might be. But A1 and D2, there might be a link there to see where you've gone with that. But it's thinking about how to group 4 of the key words or 4 of the key names together. So it's not in pairs necessarily.
The thing to think there is it's 3 groups of 4, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 groups of 4. So I can see where you put A1 and because obviously they're opposites of each other. But actually, I'll give you a clue there. They're not in the same group. They're actually in different groups. So maybe you might want to start with Baudrillard and put him in one group with someone else or some other people. So let's see what ideas. There might be names you've not come across yet. It depends what obviously units you're taking. So some of those names you might not come across. So we've got A1, C3. Okay. Should we have a look at the first one while you're sort of getting your ideas together? So the obvious one would be postmodernist thinkers. So we've got Baudrillard, Lassigny and Lyotard and Bauman. You might not have come across all those names, but different names have come up, or different postmodernist thinkers have brought along different key concepts. So some of those we're going to look for later, so I won't say too much about that now because that will help you a little bit. So if they're connected together, they're your postmodernist key thinkers. Do not fret if they're not ones you've come across. Alice has put D1 and C3. C3. Okay. Yes, that will make a link of what might be the other 2. How else? And what Go for it.
I was going to say, so like, just to ask Alice, so like, what might connect those 2, because that might help you find the other 2.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate for some people this might be something you might look at later on in the course, postmodernism. Not fully applicable in lots of topics unless you do media, maybe cultural identity as well. So how could you link D1 and C3, definitely. How that might link to another one. Thinking about what postmodern is, maybe.
I think with postmodernism, it does come in a lot of the different topic areas, but I think where most students tend to connect it is when they do their theory and methods part and think about sort of like postmodern ideas. But it's in family, it's in, as you said, Katie, it's in culture and identity. It's certainly in media. We can see postmodern views in things like health and work, property and welfare as well, and stratification and beliefs, certainly in beliefs.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it depends how far into the course you are and how much of the theories you've looked at. So, should we go and pop some of the second one up? So, the next one is a feature of postmodernism. So, globalisation would be a key word associated with them. Individualisms, you might have talked about hybrid identities potentially if you've been doing cultural identity. We've got increased diversity and choice. Potentially, you've seen that maybe in the family unit, the education unit, and obviously the decline in meta-narratives. Again, might have seen that in education. Maybe if you're doing media, cultural identity again, you might also see that in the beliefs unit as well. So it will crop up. If you've not seen it yet, it might be something that you're due to see, or you've just maybe looked at one of those concepts like increased diversity and choice or individualism. So yeah, we've got this idea that Beck talks about individualisation.
He does.
Go for it.
You're right,
yeah.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis talks about the individualisation thesis.
And it depends what book what textbook you're reading. So sometimes a Beck comes under a postmodernist, and sometimes he's seen as sort of a late modernist. Depends what book you're reading as well. So I appreciate that. Yeah. And the last one, have a go, right? So we know they're definitely linked together. What do you think the link is? Overestimates globalisation or the extent of it. Social structures in our society still exist, like class and gender and ethnicity. Overestimates the decline in meta-narratives in our society, and ignores the inequalities that exist in our society in the terms of power of the ruling class. So what's the link between all of those? Final go. I'm sure Alice and Ian potentially, or Lewis might be able to make that link there, or even Megan has been quite a bit earlier. Yeah, brilliant. Keys has come out with it. So yeah, they're all AOP, they're all evaluation, they're all criticisms. So again, it's just maybe just a case of recapping those. But I appreciate this might be quite new to some people or something they haven't looked at for a while. Well done, Jasmine.
Good job.
Oh, Jasmine, sorry. Go for it. And the next one we're going to know is Craig.
Thank you, Katie. Right. One of the big things that we link with New Right, particularly, is social policy. So on our connection spinner, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight a number of different issues on the connection spinner. And what we would like you to do is it will spin around and it will highlight a social issue. And we would like you to identify some New Right policies that may have tackled these ideas. Now, bear in mind, this is from right across the specification. We know what the New Right think in terms of sort of like their policies and their ideas. So we've got 6 categories here: falling standards in education. How might the New Right try and tackle that? Welfare dependency. What might they think about that? What policies might they put forward? High levels of crime. Now, of course, you've got New Right and right realism, which are, whilst they're not exactly the same, very much right realism is influenced by New Right thinking. Social inequality, lone parent families, and what policies might be put out there to tackle lone parent families, and changes to family life. We're going to send this spin around a couple of times. We're going to pick out a couple of these categories, and then I'd like you to identify some policies that would address the issue. So our first one, how might the New Right address falling standards in education? This might be very familiar, sort of like, particularly if you've done anything on, if you've done your education module, particularly if you're looking at things like marketization, just as a little hint there. So what policies might be introduced to tackle falling standards in education by New Right thinkers? This might be one that people will take a little bit of a while to type in, I think. There's quite a few. What policies might New Right thinkers suggest to tackle falling standards in education? Oh, good one there from Lewis. A voucher system. There were two sociologists who did suggest a voucher system. So a little bit of extra credit if you can name them. But yes, New Right would suggest a voucher system. Any others in here?
There's a massive clue with the old
marketization of education.
Marketization. Any particular features of that?
Yeah, we would see marketization as being the kind of the big idea, but then what we're looking for underneath that, Alice, is the policies that enabled an education market to grow. But you're certainly on the right lines talking about marketization being a New Right idea. What policies might have introduced, what might have helped marketisation? Lewis has got, yes, it was Chubb and Moe. Chubb and Moe proposed a voucher system in the USA, suggesting that parents given an educational voucher. It is one of my favourite sociologists' names, Chubb and Moe. Yeah.
I like the way you made that clear that it's the favourite names, not what necessarily they believe. Yeah.
Any other education policies that might link into New Right? Cream skimming is, very much a New Right idea. Again, we probably look for the policy behind that. What enables cream skimming to happen? League tables, Jasmine, good one. Very much a key part of marketisation. One of the first policies that was brought in to help that education market. What do we measure in league tables? That might be another little hint for you. What might have been introduced by the New Right that helps us to create these league tables? Something that you'll all be doing in maybe, 6 to 18 months, or may have done last year. Bit of a tough one. Let's have a look. There might be some still coming through. Exams, good. Standardized testing.
What type of exams as well? We've seen. I was going to say, what type of exams? Well, push it a little bit further.
Yeah, you can push it a bit further. What type of exams? Our answers up here, we've got things like league tables. We've got the creation of Ofsted, which obviously gives people choice. Formula funding, very much in the news at the moment. If you've seen any clips of our new Prime Minister's campaign over the summer. Forced academisation as well. That is another example which will help tackle fallen standards education, which is very much a part of the New Right ideology. Manya is compare standardised exams, giving parents choice of where to send children. Brilliant. So things like GCSEs and A-levels. Parentocracy, that is another good key concept that you would put in there for fallen standards in education, giving parents power and giving them the choice over their children's education. And we'll put GCSEs in there. Good. Let's look at our second spin. Let's give it another spin. Let's see what else they may have tried to tackle. Okay, so how might the New Right have tackled changes to family life? If you've done the family unit, you may have done a fair bit on New Right policy and in terms of sort of like how it's tackled changes in family life. What type of things might the New Right have suggested about family life, and how might they try to tackle it? Think about what type of family the New Right like. Might be a hint. Promotion of marriage, good. How might they promote marriage? How might they promote marriage through using social policies? Nuclear family, they certainly are very much pro-nuclear family. I think less so with the more contemporary New Right. They're a little bit more pragmatic, and they've brought in some changes over the last 10 years, although it was with cross-party support. That might be something you might want to mention as well. You wouldn't automatically assume the New Right as being more progressive. Speech. Promotion of marriage speech. Okay, so I'm not following that bit. Okay. Male breadwinner and female house is natural and biologically determined. That's more of a functionalist idea, but New Right would suggest that this was an ideal way in which family should be run. They are, as I said, they're a little bit more pragmatic nowadays, and would sort of like suggest that maybe males and females should be both working. But certainly they like the nuclear family. Bit of a tough one with policy. It always tends to stick students. Let's have a look at some of the responses I've put. There are some good ones in there. So married person tax allowance, which is, I think Keys had talked about a promotion of marriage. So giving people increased tax allowance if they were married. Two-child benefit cap. That could be a one way in which they stop welfare dependency, particularly for larger families. Because of the changes to the structure of the family and the organisation of the family with both males and females working, they also introduced 30-hour childcare. which means that sort of like people can get paid. Reduction of welfare benefits to be push people to be part of the nuclear family. Yes, you can talk about that as well. That would come in there. What you would possibly look at is sort of like is where, you know, what specific policies might have done that. Increased maternity leave for men. They did do that. It was increased during I think it was during coalition government, but it certainly was increased during that period of time. So, Katie, we'll move over to your next activity. Some really good responses there, though.
Yeah, some good examples there as well. Definitely, it's a good explanation as well. So we're going to move on to postmodernism again, and appreciate that maybe this is linked into the beliefs unit. Again, some of you have just maybe started on, or you may have not been doing this. So I appreciate that might be the case as well. But what we're going to ask you to do is give you 3 ways postmodernists might talk about religion today. So what ideas associated from the postmodernist perspective in regards to beliefs. So we have got a timer for that. So are we ready? Are we steady? What key ideas associated with postmodernism and beliefs and religion? We're ready to put the timer on there, Jim. There's a little bit more of a sort of, I don't know, a little more guitar thing here.
I think we're live streaming from Duncan's chat.
Maybe. Excellent, Keys. Greater diversity. I feel like you've just literally. That's exact answer that I put. You might have different ones for me. They're brilliant. Can you give some examples, Keys, of some of the diverse beliefs that are out there now? Oh, Lewis wishes you did religion and beliefs. Okay, so we've got one idea. Don't worry, you can still type in the chat. Is there anything else they may say about beliefs? Argue social construct, most definitely, in regards to belief systems. Excellent, Max. Anything else? Any other points? Anything that anybody else wants to add to that? What might they say about the religion in modern day society? What has it become over time, potentially? Okay, what we might do is get some of these answers again. It's quite early on in the course, so potentially we'll add to this. The first one we've got there is a declining meta-analysis of universal truths. So it's changed and not declined. Well done. We've got that excellent point, which links to point 3. There's greater diversity in practices and beliefs, for example, New Age movements, sort of the rise in spiritualism, as well. And we've got more individualised experience, which sort of goes to the point that you've made. England used to be a Christian country, used to be easier access to travel, and we've become more multicultural. So maybe taking on other beliefs from other, yet believing without belonging potentially, although it depends where you sit. David's idea, maybe interactionism as well. But those sort of ideas, is sort of, I like the point that was made by Manjot, was the idea it's changing, not declining, that sort of diversity in religion, definitely. And there's other ones you'll learn throughout the year as well. So that's amazing. Thank you. Right, off to you, Craig.
Okay, thank you, Katie. We are back to... I don't know what that was. We are back to the picture grid now. Sorry, we're back to the new right now, and we're going to do a picture grid. In the picture grid, what you will have is you will see 6 questions come up. Every time you answer a question, a piece of the grid will move away, and it will reveal a picture. And then you've also got to guess who is the image behind the grid, and it is a sociologist in this case. So let's think here. Again, it's on the new right. So which educational policy brought in league tables, standardized testing, and the national curriculum? We've touched on this a little bit already, although we've not mentioned the specific policy. So what brought in league tables, standardized testing, and the national curriculum? Which social policy? I'll give you a clue. It starts with education. There we go. Jasmine's put it in. It's the Education Reform Act. So well done. Let's reveal our first piece of the puzzle. Can we tell who that is? Which sociologist that is from that one piece? Possibly not. All we can see here is that the sociologist has an ear and grey hair. And that doesn't really rule out a lot of sociologists. Which sociologist suggested a voucher system for use in education? We have already had this answer. I forget. Was it Lewis who gave me this answer?
Yeah, I think so. It was they like the name Chubb.
I'll go all the way back. Who said? Oh, well, that's giving away the answer again. Yes, it was Lewis who gave me this answer before. It was Chubb and Mo, and Keys has just given us the answer again. Okay. Yeah, so let's reveal the next piece. Oh, interesting enough, for a new right thinker, we can see that they're married because they have a ring on their finger. Let's look at our third question. What is the term used to describe the process of allocating public services to private companies? Key idea in terms of the new right. And Keys has got it pretty much straight away. Well done. Privatization. That's correct. We might get a better idea of who this person is now. Max has come in with privatization as well. Alice is coming in with privatization. Quite a few. Manjot's come in with privatization. Let's look at our next question. If anybody's guessed the theorist yet. What term is used to describe the process of introducing choice and competition into education? Mentioned this a little bit already. Still don't know who it is. Marketization, Alice has put on. I don't think this square is going to help you then, Max. Let's reveal this one. It is marketization is the correct answer. Think about your new right theorists. Which social class is seen as being inadequately socialized according to the new right? Big hint, the person in the picture said it. Which social class is seen as being inadequately socialized according to the new right? Oh, if only, Mahima. The upper class, well, we could argue about their levels of socialization, but unfortunately it's not the answer we're looking for. The lower class, I would say here it's a term we use, what we call is the underclass. And Jasmine, I think, has spotted the theorist as well. Yeah, it is the lower class or the underclass, we would say. I mean, particularly Maury talked about an underclass, and he kind of went on to sort of say idle young men and started to blame sort of like lone parent families for sort of like the problems in society. And this is one of the reasons why the new right do get quite criticized, because of this view that often those who are most disadvantaged in society are blamed for the problems of society. Yeah, it's very much a conservative view, Mahima. Okay, and sorry, that's the answer. Yeah, the new right is associated with which UK political party? Yes, it is the Conservatives, and we would see that as, and obviously, sort of behind our image there is Charles Murray. It is linked to the Conservative Party. Right, we shall go over to Katie for our next activity, which is a bubble quiz.
Which is a bubble quiz. Yeah. Yeah, maybe some victim blaming there, potentially, arguably. That's my favourite word in sociology. So, we're going to look at bubble quiz. In a minute, there are going to be a range of questions with some answers, and they are labelled A, B, C, or D. So if you've done this before, it's a case it could be all. They could be all right. They could be one of them right, none of them right. It's up to you. So what we want to do is put the answers in the chat, so you just need to put A, B, C, D, or all of them, or some of them. The first question is, what word is linked to postmodernism out of that list? Some of them you might not have come across because obviously you're not taking it. That's a topic. So D, definitely. Any others? C, yeah.
C in there as
else?
well. We've got D.
Yeah, D.
Oh, sorry, D's come up, yeah.
Yeah, and that's quite a common, particularly for the education unit.
Just to mention, on the bubble quiz, for those who haven't done it, there can be more than one right answer.
Yeah. That's okay, Max. It's part of the revision anyhow, so don't worry. You know, it's all part of the revision. So some of you write with some of those answers. Like we said, it could be some of them, all of them. In this case, It is all of them. Again, it depends what unit where you've gone to the exam so far. So while space is particularly linked into the crime unit potentially, hybrid identities, obviously, and picking tends to be quite popular. And obviously, I can't pronounce this by brace. I can't go. Craig, can you pronounce it?
Simulacrum.
Bracing, I can't do it.
I can actually do this one. It's simulacrum.
I can't with the brace. This is the problem. I'm like that. Obviously, if you're doing the media unit, you come to. Don't worry yourself if you haven't heard all of these, because it depends what units you're covering or have covered so far. So don't worry about that, Max. Okay, the next question is there's a term we've looked at already, is declining meta-narrative, so sort of the idea of declining grand theories. What I want you to do is link what sociologists, what postmodern sociologists is linked to that term. Is it Bauman, now you're testing me with my correct, Bauman, Lyotard, Baudelaire, or Giddens? Which name is used linked to that key concept? Is it A, B, C, or D? A little clue there, it's only one name. Through. Yeah, brilliant. B, couple B's, excellent. Yeah, it's again, I'm not going to say Francis Lyotard, I could probably say that wrong as well. I remember when I went for the whole of my A levels, referring to Weber as Weber. So there we go. Yeah. Just to share something there with you. I think we've all done it before. Same with Foucault. I used to call him Foucault. Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Who is associated with the term? I can't say it.
Simulacrum.
There we go. Don't worry, Keys. I did the same. You said it Weber as well, yeah. As in like the barbecue, barbecues. Excellent, brilliant, Lewis. Yeah, it is Baudelaire. He's the one that's linked to that name. So fantastic. Some really good knowledge there. Again, for some of you, it will be a case of revising. Some of you, it's stuff you've yet to do, so don't fret too much. I'm gonna pass. Craig, you're gonna take the mantle for Word Smash. Are you doing this? Because I feel like
I am.
I'm not.
I think we'll have to step in. Ordinarily, for people who watch every week, it's usually Duncan who does the Word Smash, and myself and Katie kind of look on in amazement at sort of like how Duncan has done this. He's left us a gift this week. He's done the Word Smash for us, and we have to present it. So what happens in the Word Smash activity is you'll be given two concepts, or you'll be given a picture on the left-hand side of the screen, and you'll be given a sociological question on the right-hand side of the screen, and the answers smash together to form a new word. So the example Duncan often gives here is that on the left-hand side, you can see an elephant. And on the right-hand side, the question is, what is the most southernmost continent in the world, home to the South Pole? It's Antarctica. And so we smash those two words together to come up with Elephantarctica. Yeah, this is how it works. And sometimes this is a hit or miss activity. Sometimes we get some fantastic responses coming through, and it's a little bit of fun to end the session. So let's look at our first one. So on the left-hand side, we have a transformer. And on the right-hand side, we have the US president most associated with the new right. So you can either pick it up by looking at one side and sort of like saying, right, okay, well, I know who the US president is. Or you can look at from the other side and say, right, okay, I know who the transformer is, and let's smash them together to come up with an answer. Trump. Well, yeah. That's one way. Yeah, I would sort of like say Trump certainly is new right, but it's before Trump. It's before Trump. Trump's beyond new right.
Remember, Duncan's a lot older than you guys, so I'm not going to put up an Asian Duncan, but he's older than you guys. So think of when he might be referencing, what time period, and don't say the 1920s.
My daughter constantly asks me if they had phones when I was a kid and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm kind of used to this.
Sorry, unfortunately,
Obama,
he's actually
a bit earlier than Obama.
Also, he would be classed as
so good, either. Lewis. That is so close. Optimus Pragen. That was so close, but it's not Optimus Prime. But that is really good. You have got the president. You have got the president. And you've probably also given Duncan an idea for one in the future. Optimus Pragen, yeah. It's the other transformer.
So I don't even know. This is lost to me. Like I don't even know the Transformers had names.
Oh,
Is that bad?
You know,
Well, you do now,
Transformers
Katie.
was a thing when I was growing
I
up.
do now.
Yeah.
I know the song.
Yeah.
Transformers in
They do have
disguise.
they do have names. Like I think this one's called Steve. All right. So no. Okay, let's reveal it. It was so close with Optimus Prime. It was Megatronald Reagan. Oh, Megatragan. Close, Lewis. Close, Lewis. It's
I like that. I
Megatronald
like
Reagan.
that.
Megatron was the Transformer. Ronald Reagan was the president. Where Duncan comes up with these is beyond me. But let's go. Let's see our second one. Okay, so Jean-Francois, author of The Postmodern Condition, is our sociological concept that we have to consider. And on the left-hand side, we have a musician. A very famous musician, but died a long time before many of you will have been born.
Are you going to sing any of these songs?
I'm trying to think, actually. Very, very much in the 50s, wasn't he? 1950s.
I feel like I just need to Google like one of his songs now, as I said it, because I don't actually look. It's this way knowledge. I'm thinking of like the 1990s song that had his name as a reference.
Oh, Weezer. There was a Weezer song.
Yeah.
The Weezer song was just like blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Max is asking for a cappella, don't you?
Yeah, I think we might be going into copyright stuff. YouTube might shut us down if we start singing songs. So.
Then it just shuts down for bad singing.
I've got to admit, this is a reach. This one, I think, this one will be a reach.
Yeah.
But think about
the
ones on the end. Think about the sociologist on the right hand side, author of The Postmodern Condition, a postmodernist whose first name is Jean-Francois, who we've already discussed.
And I tried to say his name earlier.
Sounds like something you'd wear if you were doing gymnastics.
I was thinking something sociological. We talked about the death of meta-narratives or the decline of meta-narratives.
Yeah. I think this one might stump people. Let's have a look. Oh, Buddy Holly. Oh, Buddy Holly is the right answer on the left-hand side. Let's think about our sociologists.
Leotard, smashed them together.
Leotard. Yeah, we've got the two answers. We're smashed together. Manjo sort of like said leotard as well. Yeah. Let's see the answer. Buddy Hollyotard. Oh dear.
Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. They're so bad.
I think Duncan saved some of his best work for this week. I think he has to let us do it. Let's go to our last one. Oh, we missed our last one.
Yeah,
we just go back to the screen.
No, that's it.
Was there a...
There's
another one. I think we've exhausted.
There was a third one, I think, but I don't think anyone would have got the third one.
What was it?
I'm trying to remember. It was quite comical.
Oh
no!
Should I say it or should we save it? Should we save it?
Save it for next week. Yep.
Save it.
Superb stuff.
In fact, possibly save it for the summer when nobody's watching.
Oh, that was great stuff. A nice way to finish, but we did some great work there, particularly for the live chat audience with some great answers. Working hard as always.
Amazing guys.
Yeah. And I learn everything.
Couldn't do without you guys. So thank you.
Absolutely right. I learned something on every one of these sessions. I learned a few sessions ago that Weber also invented whilst he wasn't writing about sociology, invented the barbecue. And now I've found out that Leotard invented Lycra. So happy days.
Yeah.
Superb stuff.
There we go.
And Transformers are called Steve.
Anyway, great. A huge thanks to everyone who's been involved with our live chat tonight, and in particular everyone. We had loads and loads of people. Not put them all on screen, but lots of people typing answers into the live chat. So hopefully that has been a bit of fun. It's also useful. The point about these sessions is it's just it's regular recap and revision, isn't it? You can't do enough of that. Sometimes going back to topic areas 3 or 4 times before mocks and exams really helps just build awareness, particularly of key terms and concepts. And that connection spinner, those policy ideas, those are really worth having, aren't they? having some examples of those. So what do you think, Craig? Katie, any last thoughts before we sign off for tonight?
I think so.
Have a nice rest,
this one. There are 30 odd others that we've already recorded over the last 2 or 3 years. The timetable for these lives, I think we've got another couple lined up, and then we take a little break. So it's 6:30s on a Wednesdays.
That's it.
I think next week, I think our idea was to look at positivism and interpretivism with methods, I think, from what I can recall. And then we take a little break because we go off kind of around the country on a Strong Foundations tour. And then I think we're coming back after Christmas.
Yeah, indeed. Looking forward to that. So yeah, just go to tutor2.net/live to see the upcoming live streams. We normally add them in about a week before they go live. So probably tomorrow, the next week's Sociology will go live. And as Craig mentioned, there's 30, 40, maybe even 50 replays of live streams that we've done for AQA level Sociology. So just go to the replay section and you can download the PowerPoints as well as watch the videos. So hopefully that's useful. And well, as always, if you've enjoyed the session, give it a thumbs up, share the link with your mates and your teachers. And most importantly, a huge thanks to Casey and Craig for taking lots of time this evening, for putting the session together and guiding us through it. So for now,
amazing.
We'll hopefully see you this time next week. Happy studying,
Yeah,
happy revising. We'll see you later.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.